Hey guys, Eric back here at Comic-Con. A lot going on, a lot of loudness behind us, but we are here with the group from Krampus. Mike, Tony, Adam, welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Krampus, the legend of Krampus, I feel like it's a legend some people know, some don't. Can you talk about that, Mike, the inspiration for the movie and where you're going with it?
Well, I've always thought Christmas is actually pretty creepy on its own. When I was a kid, I used to draw a character called Santa Claus.
Yeah.
And I always wanted to do a scary Santa Claus movie, but then about 10 years ago, I discovered The Legend of Krampus, and I discovered that there already was a scary Santa Claus figure out there. And I figured, well, why not turn it into sort of a horror fantasy comedy?
And Tony, can you talk about your character in this, and what was it that grabbed you about Krampus?
I just loved that I had never come across anything like it. The script is such a combination of genres. It's very, very funny. It's very character driven, but it's also this kind of heightened horror film. And I play a woman who learns to loosen up. She's quite uptight, a bit of a perfectionist, and that's basically, I've become a warrior.
That you are.
And Adam, you have some history with horror comedy at Piranha 3D. Can you talk about this film, your character in it, and what was it about it that appealed to you?
Yeah, I mean, Mike and I sat down and chatted before I even read the script, and he and I share a love of sort of the 80s sort of family horror movie in a way, like Poltergeist,
Yeah.
Gremlins,
Yeah.
like the Amblin movies, Goonies, stuff like that. And I just and the use of a lot of practical effects and sort of a character-driven movie that isn't really. I don't know if horror comedy is exactly the right definition. It's more of just a movie that defies real definition. I mean, I think Poltergeist is a great. Poltergeist and Gremlins are great examples of that movie that. It's entirely character-driven, but there's fantasy elements, there are horror elements, there's a lot of funny stuff in it, but it's mostly just, it's very moving.
Yeah.
There are a lot of different things going on in the movie that I just thought were really interesting and really reminded me of those movies that I grew up loving.
Mike, I'm a big fan of your first film, Trick or Treat. Where would this fall sort of, is it tonally similar? Because it also obviously had horror and comedy, or is there a little bit of a different angle on this one?
No, I think it's very similar. It's not an anthology, but the tone of it is very similar. It's David Keckner, our cohort, said that it has heart, humor, and horror, and that's a balance that's really important to me. Because I believe even a scary movie can be classy and funny, but it's very similar to Trick or Treat, and who knows, they might even share a world.
Wow, I like that a lot. Very intrigued by that. Might be a follow-up on that. Tony, you talked about your character a bit, but what is her reaction to what sounds like a pretty insane situation? Not every day you're encountering sort of the Santa Claus's evil cohort.
Pure evil.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess Sarah's reaction is one of initially of shock, and then I think it's actually kind of a spiritual awakening, knowing that there's something beyond what she sees and encounters every day. On a basic level, I think that's what happens to her.
And Adam, can you talk a bit more about your character in the film and how he comes into this crazy story?
Yeah, Tony and I in the movie, we're married and we have a family, and we've kind of all grown a bit distant. There's a lot of devices in the household. I'm out of town a lot with work, and this horrible thing starts happening to our neighborhood and maybe the world. We don't know, but we know that we have to now band together and just fight for survival from this other world.
You're actually giving me goosebumps.
Oh, okay. There's not a breeze, so it must be Krampus.
It's very much a Christmas family movie.
Yeah, it really is. It's a Christmas family
Not for 5-year-olds.
movie, and then a bunch of terrible things start happening to us.
Well, like you said, Gremlins, which if you watch the first half hour, is just about a guy getting a really cute animal.
Right.
The first half hour of this is like a fantastically funny John Hughes movie.
Oh, I look forward to
Oh,
that.
shucks.
You mentioned that it might have some connective tissue with Trick or Treat. Are you working to go through all the holidays?
Yes, Passover will be next.
Yeah, nice.
Can't wait.
Yes, yes.
Pass
You have to-
under as well.
Yes. Must paint blood above your doors.
Right.
Yeah, the firstborn are no longer safe.
Was that when you went into this? Did you know you were going to do some little connection, or did it just make sense that I did a Halloween movie, I'm doing a Christmas movie?
Well, I mean, if you're going to do a movie about, ancient pagan holidays, it makes sense that there might be some crossover between the two.
Right.
Yeah.
For both of you guys acting in this film, what's it like? Are you, is this a film where you're kind of playing it very straight? Where are you going for tonally as far as approaching the performance in the movie that's going to be somewhat heightened, but with grounded characters?
When I first read it, I thought it was going to be slightly heightened.
Yeah.
And there was one of the first scenes that we shot, and I did play it that way, and we actually came back and reshot it because you were like, you thought overnight and decided the tone is actually completely straight. So there are a few comedic moments,
definitely
but essentially
moments.
these are real people going through something very strange.
I mean, there's a scene where, I won't give away too much, where I get to attack Tony with a puppet. And you can only play that straight so well.
Right.
Like before you have to wink a little bit to the audience.
Uh-huh.
It
Yeah.
was really fun working with the puppets, I mean, most films are CGI, that kind of stuff in, but we were working with Weta Workshop, and they just do really incredible work, and it was fun having that element to the movie.
Mike, before we go, I have to throw in a quick question. X-Men Apocalypse, I told you I just handed a free poster here. That title alone indicates a pretty big movie on this one, knowing there's been a lot of X-Men movies, noting the title and the character. Were you like, we need to go very big on this film?
I think that was definitely a group consensus as we were sort of cracking the story together, is that it definitely had to surpass the previous X-Men films, but at the same time bring something new to it. So when you go back into ancient history and try and find sort of the origins and sources of mutants, that kind of writes itself in a certain extent.
And next it'll be X-Women, right?
Yeah.
Plenty of X-Women.
Well,
Yeah.
guys, thank you so much. Krampus coming this December, right?
Yes.
We're looking forward to it. We'll have plenty more from here at Comic-Con and IGN.
Thanks,
Thank
Eric.
you.
Cheers.